The Council Hall of Concordance was designed to discourage urgency. Wide chambers, soft harmonic lighting, and air currents calibrated to reduce aggressive pheromones. I had served as Recorder Prime Salak for 112 standard cycles, and in that time I had witnessed invasions debated into irrelevance, extinction votes delayed by lunch recesses, and emergency motions quietly suffocated by procedure. Civilizations rose and fell while the Council perfected the art of doing nothing politely. That was why the emergency summons from Earth unsettled me before the humans ever arrived. Humanity did not call emergency sessions. They submitted forms early, followed rules obsessively, and apologized when they didn't need to. When Ambassador Elaine Carter entered the chamber without her usual aids, without her data slate, and without the faint smile she always wore like armor, every delegate noticed. Silence rippled outward, an instinctive reaction even among species unfamiliar with human expressions. Carter did not wait to be acknowledged. "The Virile Combine has annihilated the colony of Dawn Reach," she said, her voice level and perfectly clear. "Population 23,000. Civilian. Non-military. Genocide." The word translated cleanly across every channel, heavy and absolute. Councilor Heshtal of the Virile Combine adjusted his mantle frills in a gesture of mild irritation. "The colony violated restricted expansion zones," he replied. "Corrective action was authorized." Carter inclined her head slightly, as if acknowledging a minor scheduling error. "Your fleets conducted orbital saturation fire on agricultural domes," she said. "They struck evacuation corridors. They targeted a primary learning complex. 406 children were present." A murmur passed through the chamber, quickly smothered by decorum fields. Heshtal's mandibles clicked. "Collateral consequences occur. The Combine regrets inefficiencies." I felt something shift then, subtle but unmistakable, like pressure building beneath tectonic plates. Carter's eyes never left the virile delegate. "Earth is invoking Article 79, she said. My secondary heart faltered. Article 79 demanded independent verification of crimes against sapient life. It demanded witnesses. It demanded accountability. "Recorder Prime," Carter continued, finally turning toward me, "release the Concordance monitoring logs for Dawn Reach." Every protocol screamed at me to delay, to defer, to suggest committee review. Instead, my hands moved on their own. "The data confirms full compliance by the colony," I said. Evacuation was in progress. No hostile activity detected. The chamber erupted. Heshtal recoiled, frills flaring. "This council will not be threatened by a juvenile species," he snarled. Carter smiled then, small and cold. "We aren't threatening anyone," she said. "We're notifying you." The council's outburst dissolved into overlapping accusations, legal objections, and ritualized outrage. I barely heard them. My attention remained fixed on Ambassador Carter, because she was still smiling, and something about that smile unsettled instincts older than my species' written history. It was not anger. It was restraint under strain. "You misunderstand," Councilor Heshtal said once order was forcibly restored. "The Combine does not answer to emotional appeals. Earth's protest is noted and dismissed." Carter nodded. "That's expected," she replied. "Which is why this session was never about persuading you." She reached into her jacket and produced a physical data cylinder, an anachronism so deliberate it drew confused glances. 3 hours ago, the Terran Assembly passed Resolution Black Meridian, she said. Unanimously. The chamber quieted again. Even the elder species leaned forward. "Under Black Meridian," Carter continued, "any confirmed act of genocide against Terran civilians suspends all diplomatic limitations on Earth's defensive response. Military command authority transfers from civilian oversight to autonomous strategic doctrine." Heshtal emitted a sharp, dismissive trill. "You are posturing. Earth's fleet presence in this sector is negligible. 6 combat vessels," Carter agreed easily. 17 support frames. "You're correct." She paused. "You're assuming proportionality is measured by numbers." I felt my throat membranes tighten. Carter began pacing slowly, her footsteps echoing in the chamber. "Humans evolved on a world where extinction was routine," she said. "Asteroids. Ice ages. Predators that hunted us for sport. Diseases that erased entire populations before we learned their names." She stopped and looked around the hall. "Violence is not exotic to us. It's ancestral memory." Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. "When we joined this council, we accepted your rules because we wanted to believe civilization was stronger than survival instinct," Carter continued. "We believed restraint was progress. Her gaze hardened. Dawn Reach was proof that belief was misplaced. HFY leaned forward. Are you declaring war? He demanded. Carter shook her head. No. War is inefficient. War creates martyrs and excuses. She returned to the podium and placed the data cylinder down carefully. This is notification, she said again. Earth has withdrawn from all mediation protocols with the Viral Combine. Our fleet has already departed its registered positions. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the chamber. Withdrawn where? I asked before I could stop myself. Carter looked at me, expression almost kind. Recorder Prime, she said, if our ships were somewhere you could track, this conversation would be very different. HFY laughed too loudly. You vanish and expect fear? Carter met his gaze. No, she said softly. We expect comprehension. She straightened her jacket. This session is concluded. All non-combatant traffic is advised to clear Viral-controlled space within 48 standard hours. She turned to leave, then added without looking back, after that, Earth stops being civilized. 41 hours after Ambassador Carter's departure, the council chambers were nearly empty. Delegates had retreated to secure channels and private panic. I was stationed at the Concordance Deep Monitoring Array, surrounded by data streams updating faster than my implants could comfortably process. Every inquiry carried the same question, phrased with varying degrees of dread. Where was the Terran Fleet? Earth's ships had not entered hyperspace. They had not formed defensive clusters. They had simply vanished. No gravitic wake. No quantum residue. It was as if 6 warships and their escorts had ceased to exist. The Viral Combine reacted predictably. 70% of their sector fleet was recalled to core systems. Orbital platforms powered up ancient defense grids. Energy consumption spiked to unsustainable levels as commanders prepared for an attack that refused to arrive. Fear does strange things to strategic planning. Recorder Prime, my aide Kesh whispered, frills trembling. The Viral are broadcasting emergency petitions. They accuse Earth of psychological warfare. I allowed myself a brief, unprofessional sound of amusement. They're correct, I said. They simply don't understand how deeply humans specialize in it. I pulled up cultural archives. Human mythology overflowed with unseen threats, patient hunters, and monsters that waited rather than charged. Terror to them was not chaos. It was timing. The proximity alarms began 3 minutes later. Not one but dozens. Sector after sector lit up simultaneously. 44 Viral military installations registered localized spacetime distortions. Then the Terran ships appeared. Not as a fleet. As a constellation. Each vessel emerged precisely 200 kilometers from its assigned target. Weapons arrays remained cold. No power spikes. No targeting locks. Just presence. Kesh stared at the display. They're inside firing range, she said. Why aren't they attacking? The answer arrived as an open broadcast on every channel. Ambassador Carter's voice was calm, almost conversational. Viral military personnel, she said. You have 30 minutes to evacuate these facilities. Safe corridor coordinates are being transmitted now. Any vessel departing through designated routes will not be engaged. I watched evacuation signatures bloom across the tactical map. Transports launching. Crews abandoning stations. Even as Viral command channels screamed orders to hold position, their soldiers fled. They're giving them time, Kesh whispered. Yes, I replied. Because this isn't punishment. It's demonstration. Councilor HFY appeared briefly on my private channel, mandibles clattering in agitation. This is deception, he snapped. Earth lacks the firepower to threaten Combine infrastructure. I studied the evacuation data. With respect, Councilor, I said, you should leave. He cut the transmission. 29 minutes passed. Then Carter's voice returned, colder now. Final notice, she said. Your leadership has chosen for you. The Terran ships powered their launch systems. Not beams. Not missiles. Something else entirely. And the universe held its breath. The Council Hall of Concordance was designed to discourage urgency. Wide chambers, soft harmonic lighting, and air currents calibrated to suppress aggression. I had served as Recorder Prime Salak for more than a century, long enough to watch crises dissolve into procedure and extinctions delayed by debate. Nothing ever moved quickly here. That was why the emergency summons from Earth unsettled me before the humans even arrived. Humanity did not request emergency sessions. They followed rules obsessively, apologized excessively, and treated the Council like something sacred. When Ambassador Elaine Carter entered the chamber without her usual aides, Without her data slate, and without the faint practice smile she always wore, the room went silent. Real silence. The Viro Combine has annihilated the colony of Dawn Reach, she said. No introduction. No preamble. Population 23,000. Civilian. Non-military. She paused. Genocide. The word echoed through every translator, heavy and undeniable. Councilor Heshtal of the Viro Combine shifted his mantle frills in irritation. The colony violated restricted expansion zones, he replied. Corrective action was authorized. Carter inclined her head politely. Your fleets conducted orbital saturation fire on agricultural domes, she said. They struck evacuation corridors. They targeted a primary learning complex. 406 children were present. A murmur rippled through the chamber before decorum fields crushed it flat. Heshtal's mandibles clicked. Collateral consequences occur. I felt something change then, subtle but terrifying, like pressure building beneath a stable surface. Carter's eyes never left him. Earth is invoking Article 79, she said. My secondary heart stuttered. Article 79 demanded witnesses. Demanded truth. Recorder Prime, she continued, turning to me, release the Concordance monitoring logs for Dawn Reach. Every instinct told me to delay. Instead my hands moved. The data confirms full compliance, I said. Evacuation was in progress. No hostile activity detected. The chamber erupted. And for the first time I realized the humans had not come to argue. They had come to notify us.